Hi guys, welcome to the Travel Tribune's first ever podcast, The Spear. I'm your host, Alexis Perry, joined by a special guest, Brendan Cady. Whoop! Alright, you want to tell them something about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm a musician. I currently valet over at Wild Dunes. Pays nice, I guess. I don't know. But I mainly play with like the school orchestra, play guitar with them. I'm also the creator of a charity called Play It Forward, which donates instruments to kids in schools. I'm also,
That's cool.
Yeah, right. I'm also going to be going to Berklee College of Music next year. Decide on colleges and stuff. And if you don't know about Berklee, it's basically like, it's really nice. It's a really good school for college. Especially for musicians.
A subtle brag.
A little bit. I don't like the brag. I'm just, I'm just saying.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm younger than you, so hopefully I'll get into somewhere like that. We'll see. I'm hoping for Beaumont, but...
Yeah. Is that like your Berklee? Yeah.
Just, it's closer, and it's more vocal stuff.
Yeah.
And you're a guitar guy,
Yeah.
as you said.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like playing for orchestra? I didn't ask you about that, before.
Yeah, orchestra is a lot of fun because it's a lot different than a band setup because there's a conductor and you're not following each other. Like in a band, there's a sort of chemistry between the 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 of you, how much ever there is, And
a 15-person band.
Yeah, they've got those. Yeah, they used to have like big bands back in like Motown days and stuff, but there's like a chemistry between you all and you follow each other. But in an orchestra, every single person is following one guy, and whatever that guy is doing, you have to do it. And it's a dynamic that's very different from like more contemporary music. It's very different in a classical setting, which is what orchestra does. And so when you get up there and you're in front of the people, you're really looking for the composer's sort of, like the moves that the composer's doing. You're following him. And sometimes we'll have some drums, so the drums will keep the beat and the composer will sort of conduct. Composer. I keep on saying composer. I meant conductor. I'm so sorry. The conductor will conduct. That's what he's there for, right? But you follow the conductor. It's very different, but it's a really cool way of playing music. It's different, but it gets you out of your comfort zone. But it's real nice getting out of your comfort zone sometimes,
Because I do that with chorus. I mean, that's what chorus is. But I don't know why I've never even thought about doing it with instruments, even though obviously that's what orchestras do.
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing. Instead of using your voice, you're just using an instrument, right? And typically you think of guitars as like a little bit separate from the orchestra, but I mean, because guitars are associated with bands, and the orchestra's got all the fancy little instruments like the violin.
Like bows.
Yeah, with all the bows and stuff, right? But it's actually very similar, just because of they're all stringed instruments and they all behave very similarly. So it fits really nice in that sort of context,
When did you start playing with the orchestra?
That was back in my sophomore year. I got into the guitar class in school, just because so a bit of backstory. I started playing guitar when I was 5. I don't know if this is one of your questions or not. But
no, definitely.
So I'll go ahead and give it real quick.
I haven't even looked at the questions. I'm not
cool.
following them. Also, I'm quieter than you, so I'm just going to...
So I started playing guitar when I was 5. And I played basically off of tabs. Tabs are like sheet music, except very simple. And I played off of those until I was about 11, learning song after song after song. And I did that for 6 years. And if you do something for 6 years and you do it every single week, or every year, for 6 years, it kind of gets boring. So I thought guitar was just the most, because that's all I thought guitar was. I thought that was the most boring thing in the world, and I quit. I didn't care about it at all. Guitar sucked to me, right? And then I played football, and that was a bit of a change-up. A lot more fun change-up, actually. For about 3 years, I played football, and I moved down here in 8th grade, and I played football for Lang. In between 8th and 9th grade, I got a back injury, real bad back injury. Basically, it was a bulging disc in my lower back, except instead of going out, it was going in towards my nerves, and it hurt really, really bad. Yeah, right?
I don't even know how you could do that to yourself.
Yeah, well...
I mean, football.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't football. It was like off-season training. So it was in between seasons.
But still, like...
Yeah.
Getting rough and tumble with the boys.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to listen back to that and have to be okay with it.
But, so I did that. Kind of hurt. Not very fun. And so I quit playing football, quit doing sports, and I had to go to like physical therapy and stuff. Yeah. And eventually I started going to these cycling classes with my mom, like the power cycling classes where someone's screaming at you, come on, cycle! Woo!
What you spike in this?
Yeah, right? But basically, when I was in one of those classes and the guy was screaming at me, there was a song, and he kind of calmed down. He was like, he started talking about like oceans and stuff, and I didn't really know why. It was a song called Oceans by this guy named John Butler. And it's
Is that the real like airy?
What do you?
I don't know how to describe it, but
it's like beachy music, except it's
okay. No, I'm thinking of a different. I'm thinking of some Christian song.
No.
Which don't know why I know.
It's like this very sort of it's a 12-string guitar, and it's just him and a microphone and a couple of pedals, and he's just playing for a solid 12 minutes. And nice. I don't know why. I never want to play like that, but it was just so inspiring to me that when I came out of that cycling class, I was like, Mom, I want a guitar, and I want guitar lessons for my 14th birthday, I think it was at the time. Mm-hmm. And so...
Hey, I was like 14 when I started.
15th birthday. Oh. That's what I meant. And so I got it. And then I started playing guitar again. And I was 15, that was 9th grade. And when...
I stopped recording my words. That's okay. Uh-oh. Just keep talking.
And then when 10th grade rolled around, I enrolled into the guitar class. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of fun in there. I became real close friends with my teacher, Mr. Deakins. Shout out to Mr. Deakins. What's up? And eventually he put me on like bass guitar, and I would just follow along, and I get to
Is that the
play.
Same as a bass? That's the most ignorant thing I've ever said. But
what?
Is that the same as a bass? A bass guitar? What's the difference?
Oh, yeah. So you mean like the orchestra instrument? Mm-hmm. And so there's the bass orchestra instrument is a lot larger, and it's also acoustic. The bass guitar is an electric instrument, mm-hmm. and it's tuned basically the same.
So they don't sound different.
Not too different. Okay. Not too different. They're tuned basically the same, except an electric bass is tilted to the side. An electric bass guitar is tilted to the side, and you play it more like a guitar. It's like a very percussive guitar, right?
Okay.
But I would play, with Mr. Deakins, and eventually he was like, "Hey, I'm having this orchestra concert, and we want you to play a couple of songs." And I think it was Kashmir by Led Zeppelin, and then Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles.
I didn't realize orchestra did songs like that.
Yeah, right. But those songs had all string instruments in it and stuff, and I had a lot of fun doing that. And eventually I did that the year after, and then I did it last Christmas for their Christmas concert, where we did the Carol of the Bells, like the Trans-Siberian Orchestra mm-hmm. version, and then also Wizards of Winter, which is also by the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And I had a lot of fun doing that. a lot of fun. But yeah, I've been playing with them for a while now. So it's been a blast. I love it. I love doing that. I love. It's very different than what I'm used to, but it's still fun with it. It's great.
So guitar and bass. Mm-hmm. Any other instruments?
Yeah. Too many. Actually,
there's never too many.
I have a banjo. I know how to play banjo.
No.
Yeah. Oh, I know how to play mandolin, ukulele, saxophone. I used to play saxophone in my middle school band in like 6th and 7th grade when I used to live in Tennessee, right? And then I also played. I can also play drums, kind of. I guess as good as someone who's just picked up a couple of drum sticks can play them. But I mean, I can keep a beat,
Yeah.
And piano. I can play a bit of piano. I took piano lessons actually while I was playing guitar lessons.
Nice.
Or taking guitar lessons. When in that stretch from 5 to 11 when I was learning guitar, I took a bit of piano.
When you thought it was awful.
Yeah, exactly. I thought piano was awful too.
You see that instrument behind you, sitting on the mirror?
Oh yeah.
That's like a weird African banjo thing. You think you could play it?
Well, it's very out of tone, but...
Well, no one in here knows what it is, so...
Wow. That's, So...
This was not planned, by the way. I just
no, it's fine. It's a... So, I'm trying to describe it. It's a drum at the bottom, and it's like it's very soft fabric, and there's a stick bending up out of the top of it, and 3 strings going from the bottom connecting to the stick that's bending out from the top of it.
And the strings aren't horizontal like on a guitar, they're on top of each other.
Yeah, they're vertical. And there's tuners at the top. That'd be some... Ooh, very out of tone, but this be something to have fun with.
I don't even know how you can make more than 3 notes.
I guess you have to figure that out first, but
yeah,
that's awesome. That looks cool. I like that. I'm gonna keep it right here.
Keeping you entertained.
Yeah, exactly.
To keep me entertained now, how many guitars do you have?
Let's see. I got my main electric right now, which is a Les Paul that I've tricked out and stuff. So it has like a whammy bar, like the bar that you push down and all the notes go, like
psychedelic
real
stuff.
low. Yeah, kind of like that. And then I also have a Telecaster, which is like a type of Fender guitar. I have a guitar that my neighbors gave to me for free.
Nice.
And it's like, it looks insane. It's called a BC Rich Warlock. It's a black guitar, and it basically has spikes everywhere. I think you could hurt someone if you like swung at it.
That's the most metal thing I've ever heard.
It's the most metal guitar ever. And then there's also I also have a regular 6-string acoustic, a nylon guitar, which is like a classical sort of
I should have been
guitar.
Keeping count. I don't know how many
that's
we're
5.
at now.
That's 5. And then 12-string.
Oof.
A 12-string. Those are awesome. I love 12 strings. And then a real small first act, simple acoustic guitar. So that's 7.
Where do you keep all of them?
In my room against the wall.
I have 3 that are just lining my closet.
Right? I actually have I have hangers, so I hang them up on the wall.
Yeah, my brother had that.
Yeah, right? Real convenient, right? And then if you want to count, should I count, string instruments now? Because I got
Go
those.
for it.
I got those, too.
Just do it.
I have a regular ukulele, a performance ukulele.
What's the difference?
Longer neck. Longer neck, so there's more notes you can hit on the performance one. That all came from my dad. He wanted to learn ukulele, so I got one. And then he got another because I basically stole that one. And then he gave up, so he gave me the other one. So now I have 2.
Nice.
I'm borrowing a bass guitar from a kid named Todd Hollowell. I think that I said that right. Shout out to Todd. What's up?
You better be listening.
I still have that. I'm still working on it. The switch is all messed up on it. But it still kind of works. I also have a mandolin that I mentioned earlier, and then a banjo that I also mentioned earlier. So that's 11 so far, I think.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a lot. No, I think that's 12 actually. And then I have a set of drums too.
Nice.
So, and a piano. So it's a lot. And
what, 13, 14?
Yeah, something like that. It's a little too much, but
we got 4 instruments in this house, and that's one of them.
this is an African little.
And then one of them is a starter guitar that my brother got when he was in like 3rd grade, and he started playing guitar, and he's the reason I did, because I stole it from him like a year and a half later, and then I played a little bit when I was like 9, and then I stopped because I was like, this isn't fun, and my teacher sucks. No offense, not gonna say the teacher's name, don't remember his name. Oh my god, I was with him for like a year and I don't remember his name at all. He just did not want to be there, which is like fine. That obviously was what he wanted to do. Yeah. But then I found Chris Hawley, and he's great.
Yeah, he's a great teacher. I took from him for like about 8 months, something like that. Great teacher. Yeah, and awesome guy too.
He's how I found your number. That's so creepy.
It's not too creepy. Don't worry about that. But, great guy. Oh,
yeah,
love him to death. But awesome guy.
He's a real guy. You know, like, I don't know how to say it. Honest, just you know,
he gives it to you straight up, but he's not. He's like one of those people. He gives it to you head on. He's very straightforward, but he doesn't try to break you down. He's like, this is what you need to work on, so let's work on it. You know,
it's never. It doesn't ever make you feel bad, and I'm very sensitive. I'm like, I'll be like, why don't you like my music? Yeah. I am great, even though like I'm very mediocre, probably not like, and I'm not being like, oh my god, give me compliments. It's just like. You know, you can be good if you put effort into it, and that's where I am. I'm putting effort, so I'm good. And
exactly. That's with anything too, you know.
Which is yeah. Oh, I forgot to ask. Do you have names for your guitars?
I don't. I don't really name. I just have numbers.
Numbers.
Yeah. So, number 1 is the Les Paul. Number 2 is the Telly, and then 3 is the 12 string, and 4 is the 6 string.
Is it a rating?
No, not really. It's just how much I play them.
Oh.
It's an order of how much I play them. So it's kind of like a rating. It's kind of a rating, but I mean, like, the more I play it, the more I like it. You know, I guess it's a rating.
That you didn't like consciously make. I'm the person that will consciously name a guitar, even though. I've only decided.
You have names for your guitars?
Yeah, only one of them. I tried to name my electric, but I named her Effie, and then I was like, that's stupid, and so I stopped. But my acoustic is named Billy.
Oh, there you go.
Which is iconic, you know.
Yeah.
There's some great musicians named Billy.
Yeah.
My favorite being Billie Eilish, which is lame because everyone hates her right now. I don't know. Just because she's like, I'm young and dumb. And I'm like, no, why are you doing this? Your music is so good. Like, because, especially her older music, which is weird to say because I think she's younger than I am. But I love her. And, you know, I don't know. It fit.
Yeah. There's a lot of musicians named Billy that are awesome. You know, Billy Gibbons, Billy Idol, Billy Joel.
Oh, I love Billy Joel.
Billy Joel's great.
We're doing one of his songs.
Well, actually, I saw a documentary and I hate him.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Yeah, it's called Hired Gun, and if you haven't seen this, watch it. It's amazing. It's a documentary called Hired Gun, and it's about backup musicians in an industry that doesn't really exist anymore except for in the country music era, but it talks about like in the 80s when it existed, all the backup musicians, like the guitarists and bassists and stuff, and it goes through that. And there's a main storyline going through. Like there's a couple of side ones about like after Randy Rhoads died and Ozzy Osbourne's band, who replaced him, and after what's his name, the bassist from Metallica, like the Jimi Hendrix of basses. I forget what his name is. I feel so bad for forgetting that. But after he died, when he got replaced, and then the main storyline is about Billy Joel and how he basically screwed over all of his bandmates and fired them because his manager stole a bunch of money from him. And so they took all the money away, or he took all the money and ran with it as much as he could, and then ran with it because he was almost dead broke, and he fired all his bandmates. So it was
Dang it.
Yeah. Right?
He's so nice in his music. He's all soft and like, hello lady, I'm here for you. It's like,
right?
No. Why?
But it kind of, I saw that and I got real kind of upset after that. You know?
Understandably.
Yeah. So if you like Billy Joel, don't watch it. But if you like the truth, I'd watch it as well.
Oh yeah.
I watch it because it really lays down what the music industry, how cutthroat it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Music industry is still cutthroat today, but.
I mean, most famous people, they're famous because they're willing to do stuff like that,
Yeah, there's also the whole, you have to have, it's never, it used to be somewhat about, like, the talent side of it, like the music side of it.
Yeah.
And there's some of it that still is, like Taylor Swift, amazing songwriter. She's a great songwriter, except for like.
Does she actually write her own songs now?
Absolutely.
Really?
She writes every single one of her songs, just about. Like she co-wrote a couple of songs with like Ed Sheeran and like some real big names, but like Ed Sheeran I think writes most of his stuff. Yeah. Taylor Swift does. I don't know if Bruno Mars does or not, but he's a great performer. There's also a lot of good stuff coming out of the whole. Like more recent stuff coming out of the whole hip hop scene, like some more underground stuff, like the Mad Villain album that came out like in the mid 2000s, like around then. Great stuff coming out of there, but you don't have to go back very far to see some great stuff. But it's mainly about it's mainly about connections instead of talent nowadays, which kind of sucks, but. If you have the connections and the talent to back it up, that's where you get really appreciation from both sides, you know. And that's just the hard truth of it,
Well, Chris is kind of a connection. He knows Darius.
Yeah. He's got all those country music guys. He also has the Goo Goo
Not
Dolls
that you're a country music guy.
Yeah. Oh well, no. I mean, I lived in Nashville. That's where I was playing the guitar because I mean, if you don't play guitar in Nashville, you don't live there, right? Everyone plays guitar in Nashville. But, I used to live there, and I'm kind of in the country music. I mean, my dad listens to it a lot, so that kind of rubs off, but I don't know. I've heard so much of it. I know every single song that they're going to come out with because they all sound basically the same. I mean, there's a few differences between them, and there's some good stuff, but... They all basically sound the same. Yeah.
Old country.
That's good.
I'll give it a hand. Like that's
yeah.
Not that I've ever been a country person. Even though, as much as my mom wants me to be, a couple of people have told me it's like your voice would be so good in country, and I'm like, don't tell me that.
But I mean, country was basically all about the songwriting. And, I mean, it still kind of is. Like you listen to bands like Zac Brown Band, the great songwriters, and even though they're quote unquote country, it's just it's Southern songwriting, and the twang in their voice is just how they talk. Yeah. So that's just where all that comes from, and then really the modern country music industry is all the 80s rock with twang voices over them. You know, that's where all the guys went after LA basically shut down. After like the whole rock scene, like when it shut down in like 2000, they kind of all moved to Nashville, Tennessee to try and start there, and they've been succeeding very, very well. They've been making some really good business because country music is,
which is why Belmont
even bigger
is great.
than rock now. It's even bigger than rock was. In some ways, it's huge. It's gigantic.
Where do you see yourself fitting into the music industry?
That's a tough question.
I know.
Because that's something I'll still have to figure out.
Yeah.
You know, that's like when you're 5 years old and that one teacher asks you, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" You know?
It's like,
I don't know. I don't know where I see myself. You know,
Yeah.
I have no clue where I'm going, but I'll know when I get there, and I'm just trying to do all I can to figure out where to go. I gotta start working on stuff, and I guess Berkeley's really the first step to figure out where can I fit in this mold.
And it's a great step.
Yeah, it's a great first step, you know. Well, not just first step, just a great step in general, you know.
Yeah.
Great step in the right direction towards where do I want to be in this industry, because it's a very hard industry to be in, but it's still a very rewarding one if you can play it right, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
And, like, despite what people might think, you have time. You know, everyone's like, oh, you got to figure it out as soon as possible. And then you end up stuck in a genre you don't want to be or something.
Yeah.
Because, like, I have a problem with that. I know I'm talking about me, but...
No. It's good.
It's like, I have to fit in this group or this group. And eventually Chris was like, you don't fit in a group. Just stop trying to. Like...
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of... A lot of things like that you can apply to, like, real life, you know? Like, when someone's like, you're growing up and you're like, you know, trying to fit in with certain people and stuff, you know, just really take a step back and be like, do I fit in anywhere? You know, if you don't, screw it, you know? Like, just be yourself, and this is cool. Yeah. It's the same thing. It's kind of like that, especially with the music crowd. I mean, yeah, you gotta find out what you're doing, what you can do, and what you can't do. But once you figure that out, see where you fit, and if you don't fit, try to make yourself fit. You know.
I mean, people like originality.
People like new stuff a lot, especially when that new stuff kind of reminds them of the old stuff, but takes it a step further. You know.
Which is kind of what Bruno Mars is doing with the 80s, but...
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of the old stuff, but brings it a step further. You know, it pushes the boundary. Kendrick Lamar reminds everyone of, like, the 90s Compton rap, but pushes it a step further in a new direction. You know?
As long as we're progressing, I think it's good, you know?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing to see change in styles and genres. You know.
Right. I think that's actually all the time we've had.
All right.
I wrote some kind of outro, but I don't think I'm actually gonna follow it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Check out the Tribal Tribune, obviously. See the other stories on thetribaltribune.org, and I'll keep you updated. Bye, guys.